Destoroyah, a demon-faced terror formed from the very weapon that was used to kill the first incarnation of Godzilla. Shin Godzilla, Toho's return to form, a new take on an encore performance of the original G, whose death would form a connection between the two. Both creatures are from different eras, yet they have more alike than some of you may have noticed. Today, I'd like to show you why I believe that Shin Godzilla owes just as much to Destoroyah as it does to Godzilla of the Showa era for its inspiration and creation. To begin with, we only have to examine the kaiju to see that they both have an evil presence to them. Destoroyah to me just looks about as close to a demon kaiju as we've seen in the Toho film universe, and no take on Godzilla has ever been so twisted with a dash of Lovecraftian essence thrown in for good measure. Both of them have a black and red color scheme, with Destoroyah mostly clad in red with black accents, while Shin is a buildup of lava textured black skin with eerie red glowing from within. Both of the monsters were equipped with enormous tails. Destoroyah could carry and toss both Junior and Godzilla around with ease, while Shin's tail was easily the biggest one yet for the Big G. Yet at the same time, both were lacking in the arm department, with Shin getting the shorter end of the stick here, which I'm sure he'd have trouble holding on to anyway. The two monsters share more than just design concepts. They also have comparable origin stories. Destoroyah was originally a colony of Precambrian era microscopic crustaceans. Somehow, they had survived into the present day in some kind of hibernation state, deep in the rocks beneath Tokyo Bay. After the use of the oxygen destroyer, the conditions were altered, causing an anaerobic environment that revived and mutated these creatures. In a similar fashion, Shin Godzilla is thought to have been some kind of prehistoric sea creature that found an underwater dump of nuclear materials sometime in the 1950s. Likely due to the mutations, the creature was able to both survive and thrive in the area, eventually feeding off of the waste. So you can see both kaiju started off as creatures from the prehistoric past. Both of them were then exposed to extremely hazardous materials that caused them to heavily mutate into something far greater than they were before. I'd also note that both of these monsters, or group of monsters, were unintentionally created by man. These similar backgrounds would also produce aspects of the kaiju that would lead to further examples of inspiration. They would both possess abilities of self-mutation, changing their own body form in order to suit their environments. We can see Destoroyah's multiple juvenile forms group up into its aggregate form when needed, and even later changing into a flying configuration, followed by the possibly final bipedal form in order to confront Godzilla. Shin Godzilla showed similar changes when encountering a land environment versus an ocean one. The creature would likely have to form lungs when it emerged on land, and later on it would strengthen its own hind legs enough to stand upright, even growing T-Rex styled arms. Each of the kaiju would exhibit multiple stages, starting out as small sea creatures only to end up as towering kaiju. Shin Godzilla would have 4 stages, while Destoroyah had 2 more with at least 6 known stages. These self-mutation abilities would also likely allow both of the creatures to have amazing powers of healing and regeneration. Each would possess a purple beam attack, although the makeup of each one is still quite different beyond the color. Yet even in death, the two would still be somewhat linked. Each one was defeated by using low temperatures or freezing weapons on them manned by the humans. Destoroyah was hit with the ultra low temperature weapon while being exposed to the high temps of the charged up atomic ray of burning Godzilla when it was killed, while Shin Godzilla was frozen in a sense, having its body temp severely lowered with blood coagulants. Now, I have no evidence that the creators of Shin Godzilla were directly influenced by the looks and or abilities of Destoroyah, but even if they didn't, the two share some pretty big coincidences. So what do you guys think about these two kaiju? Is Shin just a rip-off of Destoroyah, or is it an inspiration, or do they just share some similar attributes? Are there any other kaiju like this in the Godzilla universe that have similar natures that I should cover? I'd love to hear your thoughts and questions down in the comments.